Hey Daryl, headed into the second matchup with the Eagles, where have you seen the most growth in this defensive line from the start back in camp when you were looking at these guys, and now how have they evolved, at this stage of the game?
I think for each and every one of those guys in my room, they fully understand now what the scheme is and what we're trying to get accomplished. And then for us as coaches, we're understanding the guys that we have in our rooms and on this defense and how to utilize them the best. So it's been a total team effort. Coaches and players trying putting these guys in the right position to make plays, and then just trusting one another.
Talking about trusting one another this week when they face Philadelphia for the second time, what are some key things as far as looking at what they've got and what you see in your guys?
Right. Dynamic offense, um, really good offensive line, big offensive line. Those guys have done a good job taking the coaching by Coach Stoutland, their offensive line coach, trusting their scheme and their system. They have a dynamic quarterback in Jalen Hurts, unique quarterback in Saquon, and they have two animals outside on the edges. So they really pose a huge problem and a huge task for any team that plays them. For us, it's really coming back down to we have to focus on stopping the run. Um, and they do it from a multitude of positions. Like I said, they have Saquon back there. They have Hurts, Gainwell. It's no slouch at all by any means. And they do a good job running behind his offensive line. So it's really going to be back in our wheelhouse as far as just playing with technique and fundamentals, really being conscious and straining each play. And playing the entirety of this game and not getting bored with doing the little things over and over again because that's how they play ball. So like I said, it's a huge challenge and a huge test for us.
When you look back at the film from the first time around, I know both teams have changed from when you first met. What have you learned from back then that you can take into this week's game?
Um, I think that the season has matured. It goes back to what I said before, just having trust in the scheme that we're running, um, and understanding the players that we have at our disposal and what they do best. And I think that we're getting to that point now to where we fully understand that, and that's where we're able to really pick back up and get back on the winning track. Because everybody's really focused on doing what they have to do at a high level consistently throughout the entirety of the game. So that's probably the biggest thing I've learned from us with Philly. That they haven't changed. They've been that team in the NFC East for quite some time now. Probably as long as Sirianni's been there, they've been in the playoffs. So they're in the leadership role as far as this division, and we're gonna do our very best to go attack them and try to get them off that pedestal.
What have you learned about your unit over this stretch that really stands out?
I think one thing that we've really harped on doing, as far as with our defensive line unit, is building that chemistry. Um, Easy thing to be said, hard thing to do. I really think that everybody in our D-line room truly respects and has some genuine love for the other man that's sitting next to him in the room and lining up next to him on the field. And that really shows up in our play. I don't think we have any individual contractors on this team, and especially not in the D-line room. Like, everybody's excited for everybody else's success. So there's a level of accountability that these guys uh, have gravitated towards from myself and Coach Ryan and Coach Sharif. And then from every man in that room, like, we understand what it is and we hold ourselves to a high standard. And like I said, that shows up in our play each and every day.
Who has grown the most on this defensive line?
Wow, that's a good question. Grown the most. That's a really tough question because we're in year one of this whole thing.
What will you drive home even more this week?
We got to play an entire game 60 minutes. Uh, Analytics and then just our own eyes watching the film. We start off the game very well. Second quarter, we maintain. Third quarter, we come out hot, and then fourth quarter, it gets kind of tight. So the challenge for these guys is just harp on finishing. It's not to say that these guys don't do that or don't strive to do that, but for whatever reason, like in fourth quarter, it gets kind of tight for us. So we just got to continue to play free, play fast, trust our scheme, trust our teammates, and most importantly, trust ourselves to get this thing accomplished.